The subject of justification, even though it's been a matter of theological debate throughout church history for many, many, many years, centuries, the subject of justification is not simply a theological issue. It's actually, believe it or not, an everyday functional issue. Every day. The deepest question of our lives, believe it or not, underneath all of your questions that you may have about, I don't know, meaning, life, whatever, but the deepest question of our lives, the question that lies underneath all of those questions, whether you're aware of it or not, is how can I be justified? What do I need to do, or who do I need to become in order to ensure that my life won't be a failure, that I'll get a passing grade, that I won't be ultimately rejected? Well, Paul, in writing this, knew that unless we are convinced that God justifies us, we will spend our entire lives trying to justify ourselves by what we do and don't do. We are deathly afraid of being judged a failure. We fear rejection. We fear hearing, "You're not good enough." But what if we could be confident that the verdict on our life is already in? And that because of what God has done for us, we don't have to fear failure and rejection anymore. What if we knew in our hearts that we are already justified by the one that ultimately matters? What if we believe that? Would that make a difference in the way we live our lives and the way we approach life and the way we feel about things? You see, the fear of failure and the judgment that follows would start to lose some of its power if we actually believe this. So, the Apostle Paul addressing the issue of justification is not simply doctrinal. Our life depends on it. Our mental and emotional health depends on it, believe it or not. Paul makes it clear that we are, as I mentioned before, justified by God's grace alone. We are made right with God, by God. We're justified by God's grace alone. In Greek, which is what this was originally written in, as in English, the word justify can mean slightly different things depending on the context. Well, Paul uses the word justify here to mean made right. That's what he's talking about. That all outstanding obligations have been paid in full, all of them. So if you were to go out to lunch and your friend pays the bill and he says, "We're good," it means all of the obligations have been taken care of. There's nothing left that you need to do. That's the way Paul is using the word justify here. Paul is saying, Jesus has paid your debt. Your obligation has been paid in full. You owe nothing. You're justified. So live. Feel the freedom to succeed and fail. Feel the freedom to work and rest, because your identity is not dependent on what you do anymore. It's not dependent on what you can accomplish. It's not dependent on what other people think of you. Because of Jesus, we don't need to spend our lives trying to justify ourselves. What you do with your life is not what defines you. What Jesus did with his life for you, that's what defines you. That's what gives you hope and meaning and significance and security and those sorts of things. See, Jesus passed the final test. He met the ultimate demand, and he satisfied the deepest judgment for you.